few years ago, I was coming home from work before I worked at Duke, and I stopped at Daryl's, which, anyone remember Daryl's? Okay, it closed down and then they tore it down. It wasn't far from here. It's a great restaurant.
Garrett Road?
Yeah, Garrett Road, exactly. And right, did it burn down?
It didn't burn down. I think it burned down.
And that's when they took it down. Okay, it was something horrible. This day, I was driving home from work and I got some takeout from Daryl's. And I had a 1967 VW Bug, which, if any of you know, was like the rarest year. I rebuilt it. It looked great. It was blue. I actually had my wedding reception. You know, I drove away from my wedding in it, and just instead of a limo. So had a lot of attachment emotionally. So I got in the car that day after I got the takeout, laid it down in the seat next to me. I get in the car, started up, and I smell something. It's a light smell of gas, and I was like, oh, okay. So those old cars, they make wacky noises, they have strange smells, I don't think too much of it. So I pull out onto 15501. I'm heading up north on the bypass, 15501, and you people know where that is. And I'm about halfway up toward 85, and suddenly there's this big smell of gasoline in the car. And I'm like, oh my God. And then, whoosh, I look back in the rearview mirror, and the whole back of the car is just exploded on fire. The engine had just basically exploded. And so immediately I pull the car. I lose power immediately because the engine's on fire. So I pull over onto the grass and I get out and I go around to the back seat and I have what every good Volkswagen Bug owner has behind the back seat. Fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher, right? So I grab that, I go around to the back of the car, and I reach down and I quickly pull up the back hood. Can you imagine what happened? The air just rushed in and just blew me back onto the ground. I was checking for my eyebrows. It was just like a flume of smoke and fire. But at this point, I get up, I realize 2 or 3 people in front of me are pulling over. And one guy behind me has pulled over. And as I get up onto my feet, I start spraying the engine, you know, with the fire extinguisher, and people are starting to come over. Are you okay? Are you all right? Did you get hurt? I'm like, no, but does anyone have a fire extinguisher? Because I'm starting to spray, and the fire's going out, and then it was only a small one, and it goes out, and the fire is just about this big near the carburetor, and I have nothing, and no one has anything. So we just stood back and watched as the whole engine was encompassed, and then the whole rear of the car past the firewall, and then within moments, 3 minutes, the whole car was engulfed in flames and gone. But it was awful. I won't even tell you how bad I feel about the firemen. It took like 8 minutes to get there, but these people who pulled over were all just willing to help me. I mean, that was their goal. They didn't think about it, they just came over and they were helpful. And that was wonderful. And even though, you know, I lost a lot of great things in that car, I still remember that. And social media is that feeling of giving, and then eventually you'll get that back. And I just won't leave you with that. But one of the things that I have to say is, you know, I lost a wonderful car that night. But one of the most, you know, the things I remember I missed most about it was something inside, and of course that was the Daryl's takeout.